streets and get them out of our country. Third, we will go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes, and surrendering our cities to violent criminals. They have surrendered like never before. I will direct the DOJ to open civil rights investigations into radical left prosecutors' offices.
To put it simply, Donald Trump, he's on fire. Okay, friends, welcome to Luke and Live. I got my man on the screen. Man. I've been loving this guy's speeches lately, man. He's been on fire. He's been saying all the right things, addressing matters for what they are, and my heart is happy. This is what we need today. Okay, friends, before we get into this video, I want you to like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more of my notification upload. I'm not going to waste any more of your precious time, so I'm going to get right into the heart of this thing. By the way, check out our links below and consider becoming a member to the Look and Live YouTube channel. This is how we fight against the system. Now, how about we take a listen to the speech? Okay, Trump pledges to combat radical Marxist prosecutors in massive crime policy overhaul proposal. All right, let me be quiet. Let's listen to the man.
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it.
Can somebody say, is Mr. Trump lying on this one? He's not. He's not. We're just going to continue. I'll save my thoughts.
Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide. So important. This bill will also increase vital liability protections for officers, because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police, because we want them to do their jobs.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. Let's keep going.
And we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. Second, to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk. Very simple. You stop them and you frisk them. Strictly enforcing existing gun laws against convicted felons, cracking down on the open use of illegal drugs, and cooperating with ICE to get criminal aliens off our streets and get them out of our country. Third, we will go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes, and surrendering our cities to violent criminals.
That's my man. I am so glad to hear these words. You see, he's got a plan. There goes a man with a master plan. He's got a plan. And the thing is, he will implement that. He did this the first time he was in office. He did implement his plan, despite the fact there were so many pushbacks, but he did as much as he could. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at what these Democrat cities look like, man. And I can understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene is asking for a national divorce, because I'm not saying I'm okay with this. But when you look at what these Democratic-run cities have become, the homelessness, the crime rate, the financial problems that they have, the level of immorality, the nature of their schools and what's being taught, CRT, LGBT, you name it, the ungodly. I can understand why people are just fed up. A plan needs to be put together to address these matters. Why are the red states looking so much better than the blue states? Could it have something to do with the policies, the character, the nature of the political system running these states? Questions you're going to be asking. Mr. Trump is preaching. Let's keep listening.
They have surrendered like never before. I will direct the DOJ to open civil rights investigations into radical left prosecutors' offices, such as those in Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, to determine whether they have illegally engaged in race-based enforcement of the law. I will also work with Congress to give the victims of their Marxist policies the right to sue local officials for harm and suffering, and it has been great that they have caused. If your small business is pillaged because shoplifting goes unpunished, if you're brutally attacked by a violent felon released without bail or bond, then you will be entitled to massive damages. Fourth, I will order the Department...
I gotta keep clapping, guys. This is crazy. Those liberal cities certainly have sold their morale. I'm not sure if there was any morale left in them, but they have totally surrendered to the mob and become totally Marxist in theory and in perspective. And criminals are roaming the streets, which should be behind bars, and they are committing crimes again after we let them out in the streets, knowing that they weren't converted. And sometimes I wonder, what's some of the what are the plans that we can put in place for something like this? How could you give somebody a second chance, knowing that sometimes people make mistakes and some people just would like to get their lives together? So I can understand the idea of second chances because God has given me a second chance. There is a point where you have to determine, there have to be a level of some standards that we go by. There have to be some guidelines that we determine whether or not so and so is deserved to be back in the streets. What I'm seeing happening is just criminals, unconverted, unrepentant. They go out in the streets, beating innocent people, knocking people over the head. I've seen some videos where I'm like, that's just messed up. He should be behind bars. They need to be locked up. Why are they free? Oh, cash-free bail. What is that? I mean, these cities, oh gosh, this is why Mr. Trump is such a significant figure. I mean, if anybody's going to beat Mr. Trump, you're going to have to come up with something better than this. Okay?
Department of Justice, or some people call it the Department of Injustice right now, and Homeland Security dismantle every gang, street crew, and drug network in America. Every single one of them will be dismantled. We already know what...
Ooh, baby. Whew. This is serious business. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just wanted to clap one more time, and let's keep going.
Where these turf wars and drug dens are, we know who the people are. And we're going to charge them and charge the culprits with every crime that we can find. We're going to be fair, but we're going to be tough. We also need the death penalty for drug dealers. So important. And I'd add to that human trafficking.
Ooh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's on fire. Did you hear? Now, it is including human. Now, some people will say that's a lot for drug dealers. But you got to understand, I can understand. I'm not so much saying I'm okay for all of these policies. Please understand. The nature of what's going on with this drug business, the cartel, and what's happening in our cities, and especially with retinol, and how destructive this stuff has become, okay, to our children. Some go buy certain drugs and it is laced. And so when these drugs are laced, people are just dying in the streets. And we're like, what's going on here? And the drug dealer is protected, scotch-free. He just goes on to live his life. This is what he's talking about. It's in this context that he's talking about the death decree for the drugs. Ooh, we got to work with that one. But that's some serious stuff. Let me know if you agree. Do you think death decree for drug dealers should be a thing? Let me know. Wow.
Death penalty for drug dealers. So important. And I'd add to that human traffickers, drug dealers and human traffickers. They get the death penalty. Watch it stop and stop quickly.
That is actually crazy, but true. Mm-mm-mm. Human traffickers. Listen, this stuff is bad. I didn't realize how bad this was. I didn't realize how serious this abduction and human trafficking. Even my wife, before I met her in her younger age, she was also trafficked and spoke about that. This stuff is wild, and we have a daughter, and we're like, boy, it's crazy. So the human trafficking business is one of the fastest growing business going on right now. There are people in power that are involved in some of this stuff. Why you think Mr. Epstein, who canceled himself according to what we were told, what do you think? There are some stuff you still can't find out about because there were certain connections that are not supposed to be mentioned. Okay, it's because it's that deep of a thing. In Hollywood, behind the Balenciaga stuff, what do you think is behind that? A lot of it is human trafficking, sex slaves, and children, and so on. It's a thing. I went over the internet recently, and I didn't go into the dark web. I was looking at what the dark web was all about. I'm telling you, I almost lost my mind. Some of these people doing things in the dark web that is, my Lord, my God. Look for something called hardcore. Hardcore on the dark web. You can just type it on YouTube. There will be videos explaining what this is about. I hope you have hearts and guts because I almost broke down. So I understand what's happening behind the scene now. So I know where Mr. Trump is coming from. When you understand the seriousness of this thing, you'll be like, yep, death decree. I get it.
Traffickers, they get the death penalty. Watch it stop and stop quickly. Fifth, in cities where there has been a complete breakdown of law and order, where the fundamental right of our citizens are being intolerably violated, I will not hesitate to send in federal assets, including the National Guard, until safety is restored. If Nancy Pelosi would have accepted our National Guard or our soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. But she and the mayor of
Yeppers. We're going to leave that alone. We're going to leave that alone. Or he done said it. But not only that, what about those who are looting in the streets in the name of social justice? So black violence and, cops killing black men and so on. And then they go out and do even more evil in those streets, tearing down the city apart. And cops are just standing by saying nothing. And then taxpayer dollars got to go back to fix these cities again. Antifas. When are we going to deal with these group of people? Like, oh, we are peaceful protests. But you're burning down the city. And then you leave. You're not even from there. This is crazy stuff. Trump, I told you, you are on fire.
National Guard or our soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. But she and the mayor of D.C. didn't do that. Sixth, we will end the leftist takeover of school discipline and juvenile justice. Many of these carjackers and criminals are 13, 14, and 15 years old. I will order the Education and Justice Departments to overhaul federal standards on disciplining minors, so when troubled youth are out in control, they're out on the streets and they're going wild, we will stop it. The consequences are swift, certain, and strong, and they...
My Lord. Oh, this one hit me hard. Praise the Lord for that one. Yes, we're clapping. The Democrats, to a large degree, neglect the condition of the youth in these cities that are committing the crimes. Instead, they just letting them go scotch-free, saying if you, in New York recently, the law was passed saying if you didn't kill anyone, you are supposed to be bailed out. That means a young man under the age of 18 can beat, hurt, stab someone. What if he's part of a gang? What if he's sent to do a dirty job to someone? He gets to just go home. How about we address that in various ways, finding out the reasons why this is happening, creating a system to help them out of that mental state that they might be in, so that we can help these young people instead of just letting them go to carry out more crimes because they're gonna grow and terrorize the city eventually. So the Democrats just give people a slap on the back and say, "Go ahead." But the plan that Mr. Trump is talking about here is addressing the problem heads on. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I love to hear. Keep preaching.
We will stop it. The consequences are swift, certain, and strong, and they will know that. Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity.
Yes, sir. Yes, I know some of you are excited. We got those gun grabbers that are running around. Every time there's a mass shooter, take the guns away. It's like, excuse me. You think I take the guns away from the good people and leave all the bad people with guns? Guess who's gonna die the most? So, yeah, man, we gotta protect the Second Amendment, the right to defend yourself. You gotta protect that. And again, we gotta be responsible. We gotta be trained. We gotta talk about these things in various ways to do this. But these criminals don't get converted. These criminals are not turning in their weapons. These criminals are buying the guns illegally as well. These criminals don't care about what you're saying. These criminals, those laws don't affect them. Come on now.
Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. In addition, I will, of course, fully secure the border, dramatically increase interior enforcement, and wage war on the cartels. We have never had a border so secure as it was just 2 years ago, and now our border is the worst anywhere in the world and possibly of all time. There's never been.
That was true. 100% true. Say what you want. Say what you want. That is true. And the way some of these men in power, Mayorkas and Biden and Kamala Harris, and the way they're handling that stuff, the immigration policies and so on, and how careless and negligent they've been to a large degree, it shows there is an agenda at play. Mr. Trump did not put up with this stuff. There are ways in a system to go about in order to come in here. That stuff needs to be addressed. And I'm so glad to hear this. I'm sorry, man. I got to let him preach. But I'm just saying, this gets me excited.
Anywhere in the world, and possibly of all time, there's never been a country that allowed to happen what's happening in the United States right now, where millions of people are pouring across our borders. They come from mental institutions. They come from the prisons. They're all being let out so they can come into the United States. They're poisoning our country. We will also take back our streets from the homeless, the drug addicted, and the mentally ill. I will discuss those plans in much more detail very soon. That is how I will bring back public safety to America. I want to thank you. We're going to make America great again, and we're going to make America safe again. Thank you.
He's got a plan, he's got a vision, and he's got a spirit. What else do you need to run a country? What else do you need? All you need now is some people to believe in you, and get a whole lot of people believe, including myself. And that's it. The man's got a plan. He speaks exactly what that plan is. He's got a vision, okay? In order for him to carry it out, he has ways in which he's going to bring this to about. And again, he's got the financial backing. Third, look at the spirit of the man. Like, even if you say, oh, I'm not a Trump, I'm kind of, listen. Does he look like he's playing with you? Does this man look like he's playing games with you? Look at the heart of the man. He is serious. I'm looking at that. I'm like, man, this man speaks from his heart. I'm telling you, I've been quoting Psalms 15 lately. I think it's Psalms 15 verse 3. God loves people who speaks the truth in his heart. It's just an amazing thing to hear. Psalms 15 verse 3 is the verse that I'm talking about. There it is. Oh, verse 2. there he is. He that walketh righteousness and does what? Speaketh the truth in his heart. This is how this man is speaking. The truth is coming directly from his heart. He's not playing. He knows the problem for what they are, and he's going to address them. And I think these issues we now face could have been addressed. And I think is pure negligence to a large degree. It's not poor policies so much. It's not inability so much. No, it's not so much a bipartisan issue. No. Some of these guys, they don't care. That's just what it is. They just don't care. It's not for them. It doesn't work. There is a narrative to protect. There is an agenda they're covering up. Now look at this. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So the man has a vision. Guess what? There's hope for this country. Now, I'm a realist. I like to say this all the time. I'm a realist. I read my Bible. Nothing in this world will last forever apart from the kingdom of God and the gift of grace. Nevertheless, there's still something worth fighting for here. Mr. Trump, I'll say it again. Mr. Trump is on fire. He is on fire. This man is not playing. This is the man with a master plan. This is the man with a vision. This is the man with a spirit. He looks better now than before. He's more steward, sharp, clear. His spirit is oh man. And he is more determined than he was before. Boy, I know some people are afraid, and y'all should be afraid. those anti-Trumpers. Yeah, run for the woods. Because unless God or death gets in the way, you got a serious man coming your way. Until next time, and as always, remember to look unto Jesus, live by faith. Comment below. Let me know what you think about the man.